Friday afternoon. It's 1 o'clock. It's sending me to the dump. I have a questionable 4 or 5 yards left on, but it was a pretty wet pour, but at least I have water left this time. I don't have to stop at the plant and fill up my water tank. Oh, Jesus. Fuck's sake. Anyway. I was sitting there thinking, Jesus, I spent a lot of money to do this job. Good God. So, washer fluid. I buy it. They have some. It's in a great big tote with a thingy on it. And, yeah, you'd be there 2 hours trying to get enough out to fill your reservoir. So I just buy it. Because I'm not going to spend an hour getting my monthly aerobic workout on my arm. Shit, I've switched arms and tried it. Yeah, 2 hours later. Yeah, that one of them kind of situations. The sprayers. I buy the Roundup ones because they have the adjustable little heads on them so you can change the flow pattern. Those are about 20-something a piece for the little 1 gallons. Scrub brushes, towels, tools. Like my other truck, dude still has my sledgehammer and my 3-foot nail puller. That's what they call it, claw. I use that for, there's spots around the catch where when it starts to break away, I'll take the end of that and pry the concrete off when it gets thick enough. Yeah, I use it for that. Hopper, you know, anywhere it starts to break free, I just grab that little claw and pop the stuff that's breaking loose free. But yeah, I was sitting there thinking about something in regards to that shit that my sister did by cropping me out of the picture. I think what hurt the most was my family discrediting my emotions when it upset me. Yeah. You know, everybody started to spin the, oh, well, she didn't mean anything by it. No, you just do hurtful shit without fucking conscious, you know, like, that, you know, yeah, how's she gonna feel when she sees that? You know, that kind of thing. That was so fucking, it was like cruel. And I was like, my God, you know. My family did it. It's like I even had a cousin. She's like, there's easy. Well, she at least gave me, you know, yeah, chew her ass, but you didn't need to do it in public forum on Facebook. I was like, maybe this is what it's going to fucking take to make the point clear. And she did not argue with me on that one, but she said, yeah, that is pretty fucking shallow. I had one family member go to bat for me. But anyway, yeah, she was like, yeah, there's a right way and a wrong way of doing things. And it's like, basically, she's going to be fucked up and do shit like that, hurtful without a conscience, then I'll call her out without a conscience. But yeah, I did call her out. That isn't even, there's no fucking doubt. I did defend myself on that regard. Hell yeah. But it was the principle that family, my sisters were like, oh, you're just too sensitive fucking bullshit. Trying to spin. My mom doing the same thing. Tried to spin alibi to the injury. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? How about I go and cut you out of every fucking family photo? How would you feel about that? You know, that kind of thing. Yeah, it was sketch. Very sketch. So anyway, yeah, there was that. So I mean, a lot, you know, I haven't gone, like, I skip over the fucking details. I get going with something and I skip the details. Forget bits here, you know, this, that, and the other thing. Yeah. You know, even, like, they've gaslighted me in varying different degrees of, oh, we told you. You didn't fucking tell me shit. And she said, oh, they're coming for spring break. When the fuck is that? Oh, they're coming for winter break. And my sister was like, well, I wasn't sure if we were coming or not. I said I still could have put the fucking time off. So you manipulated that by, you know, deciding last minute, knowing I wasn't going to be able to put in for the fucking time off to spend time with my child. Yeah, she done that shit. Yeah, come down to visit, but then they rammed the roads. I didn't get home until like 6:30 at night, or I was home. I was home at like 2 o'clock. I had called my dispatch and, you know, said, hey, my daughter is visiting. They didn't tell me when they were coming. They just fucking showed up. I got told like 2 days ago, you know, can you not hold me on these kill-offs? Can you know, when shit's done, let me get the hell out of here so I can get home? No, they were out till like almost 6, 7 o'clock at night, knowing damn well that I worked these stupid fucking early hours. So they manipulated the situation so I wouldn't have any time to spend with my kid. So I had been there pretty much all day, not knowing where they were, not knowing, you know, what the agenda, ramming the roads. That's what they were doing, ramming the fucking roads the whole time. And even my stepdad was like, this is kind of fucked up. They didn't even tell us to fend for ourselves for dinner or anything. They showed up with KFC with no intention of feeding him even. And I was like, y'all sketch, right? Well, then they tried to make do with what they had bought, and my mom was a bitch. She was being a straight crotch. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and he's like, so the day that I, you know, he had actually asked me, you know, why don't you ever come around when your mom is here? So I don't want to fucking see her. I've had enough of her shit. You know, kind of went the no contact thing. And he was like, I said, well, do you remember this day? He's like, yeah. I said, well, that night, you know, they didn't get back until like almost 7 o'clock at night. I had gotten off at 2 o'clock. I had told them I was going to be coming home early so I would have time, so I could spend time with my daughter, right? And they stayed out deliberately to avoid me having the ability to spend time with my daughter. And she was about 14, 15, you know, still in high school, right? So that night, she's sitting there with these 3 older people, and she's like, I'm gonna go visit my mom. And they gave her an attitude. Well, when she showed up, I was bawling. I was literally bawling my eyes out. Because I had just got home, barely gotten showered, and sitting there trying to think of what I was going to eat, because I figured they would come home and we would eat together, right? So I didn't bother picking anything up on the way home from work, thinking they would be home for dinner. So they were starving my stepdad too. you know, just being ugly. And they're both ugly. They're just both being fucking really ugly to me. And my daughter comes over, she knocked on the door, and I'm sitting there eating a can of peaches for dinner. I was just beside myself emotionally. Now, if I had like 2 beers in me right now, I'd be bawling my fucking eyes out. I'm kind of doing pretty good holding it back at the moment. But I had reminded him of that week, and he said, "Yeah, I remember that." And then I said, "Then when we were altering her dress, my mom was really ugly to me." And he's like, "Yep, I remember that too." And then it was shortly, it was about a month or so later, maybe 2. I can't remember the time frame exactly what it was. All I know is I pulled up on the motorcycle. I think I was on my Indian at that point. I just bought it or something. And I pulled up and went in to go visit with my stepdad, because him and I are very close. You know, he loves me like his own. Anyway, and my neighbor had caught me as I was pulling in and putting the kickstand down and taking the helmet off and whatnot. He's like, "I don't know what the hell happened." And I was like, "What you mean?" He's like, "Your stepdad ripped into your mother with a fury I have never heard ever come out of that man's mouth. I could hear him through the walls." Now their houses are about, I'd say about 40 feet apart, because my mom bought his mother's house. So he had built the house that my mom bought for his mom when she was alive. So they're very close together. And these two are like family, you know, the neighbors to my mom. I call them uncle and aunt, kind of. Anyway, he came out and told me that he had never heard anything like that ever come out of my stepdad's mouth. He was furious. And it was shortly thereafter that my mother had started to be like intrusive. Helpfully intrusive. Like, would you like me to come and help you clean? You know, yada, yada, yada. No. I was like, where the fuck did this all come from? Well, it was because of that day. And then he was out and about, and my mom got a mind to call my sister about an incident that I kept bringing up. And I held her accountable for a lot of shit. Of a lot of my trauma because of that incident. And she got like audacious and called my sister, who was there when all this crazy went down. And my mom, honest to God, could not remember what she did that caused, I would say, probably 80% of the trauma that I have still to this day. She had no idea. She could not remember. And when she had called my sister and asked her, you know, what is it, you know, did that really happen? And my sister's like, fuck yeah, it happened. This is how I remember it. My mom was in tears. She was totally like appalled. And basically she gave her that, you know, the philosophical concept. You know what? It happened. And you don't have the right to tell her how she should feel. Because here was already a fucking adult. Served 3 tours combat. Did 2 separate terms of service in the military under different MOSs. You know, I'm an adult. My daughter is a teenager, or now she was married at that point. Yeah, that's how long I carried that shit with me. And when I mentioned it to my stepdad, I explained to him how all of this shit went down. You know, and why there's a lot of resentment, and why this, you know, the relationship between me and my mother was always sour. Right? And why I have such a bad fucking attitude when she starts getting kookadook. And when I explained him that story, that is when she waited till he left to call my sister. And she was like, did this really happen? She couldn't, honest to God, even remember. Yeah, and that's sad. That's really sad, because that was fucking traumatizing. And then my sister, of course, added her 2 cents, you know, oh, in addition to this, in addition to that, in addition to this. Yeah. My mom was like totally, she was like, now she's got the guilt strip. You know, the childhood trauma is now in full perspective, because both of us have the same memories. Me and my sister. Because we were there together 90% of it. So why do I tell all this? Because people out there have gotten these similar emotional situations where they've been fucked over, and they don't even, you know, they realize they've been fucked over, but they can't talk about it. Or they think they're the only ones who've ever had this shit happen, and they're like, I'm just being irrational. No, the hell you ain't. There's, you know, and especially in families, it's strange. You know, families do some of the most fucked up, cruelest shit to each other. And like, I sit there and I watch those, or I read them, or I listen to them, those stories, those drama stories where the one kid is like the scapegoat child, and they get shit on really bad, and then they get their ultimate revenge kind of thing. I fucking love those. I mean, I'm never going to get any kind of ultimate revenge for any of this. But yeah, those stories, in a general, I mean, outside of the fairy tale ultimate revenge part of it, yeah, shit like that does fucking happen. I mean, my father's mother, she literally passed away of fucking broken heart. Yeah. Because her own fucking daughter robbed her blind. Her entire life savings, she was $14 overdrawn. Because they were just buying up, using her money, buy dumb shit, new car, television, you know, yada yada, whatever. Yeah. Let her fucking drive. She got her bank statement, and they literally found her dead, basically a broken heart, deceived. She gave up on life. Because of shitty, sketchy assholes that she entrusted. Yeah. Real life stories. It does happen. My family has been very cruel relationship, but it took my sister validating everything I was fucking saying to, get her to call, and she's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, I forgave you for that stuff a long time ago. But it's the principle that it's that stuff that caused the wedge of me having any entrusted relationship with her. It was gone. There was no relationship. I mean, I'm talking about from the time I was 4 fucking years old. I could not trust this woman with my life. Now, the relationship has become better. And I am not entirely certain if she's starting to see the black and white perspective of how she has been manipulated by my siblings in respect. Things are pleasant right now. But I think that she's harboring a shit ton of guilt. And it's hard to forgive. Not so much, what had traumatized me as a child that put the wedge of the relationship between me and my mother, but it's the shit that happened after. As a teenager. Things that happened as a teenager. Things that happened, when my daughter was a teenager. The attitude, the snark, the feeling as though I was not wanted. My presence was not wanted to be around. And it was very come and go. Like when she picked me up when I was deployed, she was all warm and, let's get you, what do you want to eat? And we went to the grocery store, and things felt kind of normal. Not like I needed her to do anything for me, but it felt good, that she wanted me home and was doing something nice for me. And we had fun. She went out to the bar with me and was my designated driver and let me get shit-faced drunk. Let me tie one on, coming home on R&R from Iraq. That was fun. But then something changed when my daughter became a teenager. Now here, I bought my daughter a car. And I'm still getting shit on. The attitude from my sister, no, it's no big deal. We weren't going to tell you, so that way you couldn't spend time with her at all. Manipulate the situation. So this was all my sister's fucking doing. Mom just going along with it, keeping the peace. Not even realizing how fucking sketchy the situation as a whole was. Was she blind to it? Or was she aware and, part facilitator of it? That kind of thing. And it goes around in my mind. Does she even realize how ugly she really was to me? I don't know. She didn't call yesterday, so I'm kind of curious what's going on. Maybe she's got the word of mouth. Maybe my daughter, went off. Maybe she said something. God knows, because I would share it. She's been binge watching my shit. She was already well aware how I felt about my sister in respects to my daughter and being a complete fucking control freak and manipulating the environment so much so that me and my daughter never had really a whole lot of alone time together to actually have a relationship. That kind of thing. So yeah, I'm still sour, even though my daughter's about to give birth to her own child. You know, my sister still seems to think that she has some sort of say over shit. You know, it's just... the psychological, the narcissism, you know, maybe it's not narcissism, but it's definitely narcissistic. Enveloped, you know, in its flavor. And a lot of people don't, you know, they don't see it. They don't see the manipulation. They don't see the deception. They don't see the, you know, the tactic. I saw it, but there was a lot of, I had to literally bite my fucking tongue. And now, it's like, why am I still biting my tongue? Kid's married. She's got, you know, her own family or whatever. And she has even messaged me. She's like, God, I wish you had raised me. I said, well, I don't know if I had raised you, if you would be in your situation that you're in, having met this wonderful person, because I would not have sent you to that college. I would have put you in a university down here closer to me. You might not have ever gotten that opportunity. And if your paths had never crossed, then this would not exist. So, you know, in a way, I'm kind of grateful the way it turned out. But at the same time, living in the past and not being able to say my piece in regards to shit, even though things have been repaired, I still dwell on that crap. I still think about all that shit. And how my sister had lied about things to other people. How she had talked crap that should not have been talked about to other people. It's very frustrating that when you have a big family, everybody talks about each other and they backbite. And, you know, and it's gross. It's fucking gross. Like, I don't talk about, you know, certain things to certain people to give them the false impression. I give them the generic scenario. And my sisters are never going to meet anybody that actually watches my shit. So it's not like they're going to get a false impression of who they are, because they're never going to fucking cross paths, ever. Now, the one sister who is self-made and basically bought out her husband when they decided to divorce, you know, I don't talk about all of the gnarly stuff that I know about her. I just, the personality in general, she is a woke libtard. And she's got money. And she thinks her shit don't stink. Not a whole lot of ammo in there other than my opinion of her because of the way she has treated me. The other one, haven't divulged into her nefarious bullshit either. Not like anybody knows who they are. You know? She's a tough person as long as she's comfortable. She has her security blanket and things are good. She'll go with it. rest of us are picky as fuck. I could go on all day long about their mistakes. Not so much character flaws, but their mistakes. And I would, there's only like one person I've ever talked to in depth about that kind of stuff. And that is like my buddy from high school who is like a brother to me. I got two. One who's been like a big brother to me, and the other one's been like a really close, think alike kind of thing. But I didn't go jab their personal bullshit all over Helen Tarnation just to make me look like the victim kind of crap like she did. Or paint a nasty picture of me to make her look superior. That kind of thing. Yeah. Difference. So, I read a quote. It was off Facebook. I actually saved it, so I'll probably use it as a thumbnail. That's probably the one you saw when you saw that. But yeah, it's what was it? I got a lot of stuff to say, but I ain't got nobody to say it to. Something to that accord. So, yeah, take it for what it's worth. Yeah. Not everybody's drama is on, 5 o'clock news. Some people are holding on to it. And it's just a constant reminder of, emotional pain. Like what I've got. Alright, I'm almost at the dump. God, that took forever. Alright, y'all.